house and academy, and I am here in Manchester, quite close to Keisha, but not sitting in the same room as Keisha. So it's wonderful to have you here tonight. So I'm just going to read you a little bit, and lovely to see you all. Some of my authors and some people that I've seen all over social media as well, other authors and friends. Wonderful to see you this evening. We are expecting at least 45 people this evening, but we've decided to get started and then they'll join as we go along. Okay, so about empowering dyslexics. Arriving in the UK from Jamaica at the tender age of 14, Keisha shares her empowering lived experiences of growing up with undiagnosed dyslexia and dyspraxia, facing several intersectional challenges that include culture, race, and the UK education system, which was different from Jamaica. Keisha shares her ordeal of being bullied in school and for being different, which affected her self-esteem immensely and her confidence as she grew up. Leaving school with no GCSEs, Keisha never gave up fulfilling her dreams and goals. Being undiagnosed during her corporate career of 17 years also brought many challenges and frustrations. Following her diagnosis at the age of 41, Keisha has embraced her uniqueness and champions dyslexia and dyspraxia as her superpowers. This book gives great insight of Keisha's perseverance and determination to achieve her dreams and goals despite challenges that she's encountered as someone with dyslexia and dyspraxia. As a mother of 4 children, Keisha is on a mission to create a better understanding in society, not just for her own children, but also for generations to come. A book to inspire, educate, and create more awareness of learning differences in order to reduce stigma, shame, and embarrassment that exists in our communities. What a wonderful introduction to the book. Let's give her a round of applause or a thumbs up if you want to use the emojis, whatever you want to do. Let's do them. Okay. Fantastic, fantastic, Keisha. Absolutely wonderful book. Right. I'm now going to, let's get us on Spotlight, because I'm now going to introduce you to the author, Keisha Swaby, who we all know and love. So let me just get Keisha Swaby on Spotlight, and then we can have our first book reading. It's okay. I'm doing a bit of production as well as hosting, but don't worry, I can do it. I'm just saying that for myself, really. Okay, Keisha, over to you. Do you have your first book reading ready? Yeah. All right, then.
Thank you so much, Martin. Well enough after hearing all that, I was like, is that me?
It's you.
Okay, so the first reading that I'm going to do from the book is throughout my life, and since I've been diagnosed with dyslexia and dyspraxia, people have always said to me, I really can't believe that you're dyslexic. So this is why I'm going to read this chapter here for you. And it's titled, I Can't Believe You're Dyslexic. And this is a beautiful quote. It said, I realized dyslexia was my gift. As much as I didn't fit into the standard, I ran with it. It was empowering. And that's by Erin Brockovich. And she's an actress, I think she is. So my reading now, how I've written about this one is, I've always been a fast thinker and very solution driven. Finding solutions to problem is one of my greatest strengths. If there's a problem, I'm always there, able to find a solution. and I'm enormously proud of this strength. My great dyslexic strengths often make it hard for people to believe that I have dyslexia, which is due to their lack of understanding that dyslexia has nothing to do with your level of intelligence or your ability to do things. Individuals with dyslexia don't walk around with a sticker saying they are dyslexic. I couldn't do that even if I wanted to, as I didn't know what was affecting me and the way they did. I felt great delight when I found out Will Smith was also dyslexic. That really did bring me closer to him. Well, I wish. I've always been a big fan, and growing up, I watched most of, if not all, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air episodes, and even enjoyed Boom, Shake the Room, which was one of his well-known tracks back in my young days. I was really shocked, but happy at the same time. I mean, this guy was one of my all-time favorite actors, along with Idris Elba, of course. I never knew that Will Smith was part of our special club, along with others, such as some of the world's most famous people, Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, British film director Steve McQueen, Richard Branson, Prince Harry, Princess Beatrice, Victoria Beckham, Jay Blades MBE, the Wright brothers, who are responsible for the great invention of airplanes, and many others. Individuals with dyslexic are simply amazing, with so much to offer to the world. We are not going to change for anyone. It is our uniqueness of who we are and what we can do. I feel honored to be part of this great percentage of people that are dyslexic. So many other successful people and celebrities are dyslexic, and I recently came across Molly King, former The Saturdays singer, who shared her experience of a powerful speech at an all-parliamentary group as an ambassador for the British Dyslexia Association, the BDA. Talking about her experience, she said, "The key is being diagnosed at as early as possible. It breaks my heart that there could be people out there struggling through life unnecessarily because they are not been diagnosed and are feeling stupid the way I did." She said she spent her childhood feeling stupid before being diagnosed with dyslexia. She reminded people that dyslexia isn't something that defeats you, and it doesn't mean that you can't reach your full potential. And that's the reading, yeah.
Wonderful, Keisha, wonderful. Yeah, I'd like to get to know Will Smith better myself. Yeah, absolutely.
I bet you would.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, how remarkable to discover that you weren't alone. There's so many great people like yourself that actually dyslexia isn't a curse, but it's a gift and a blessing. And it's so great that you're highlighting this today. Right, we have due, although I cannot see them on the meeting at the moment. So I'm going to rejig the order a little bit because we're due to have Sandra Smith-Brown for a review. So I may do things in a slightly different order now. Just let me just see who is here, who I can invite. Okay, so I'm going to invite Carol Nelson to give her review of Empowering Dyslexics as we get in touch with the other people who are due to speak. Carol is an author herself. She has a book series, and I was honoured to meet her at Elizabeth Hamilton's book launch earlier this year. Carol, it's lovely to see you again, and I'm going to hand over to you to hear your book review of Empowering Dyslexics. Thank you so much. Give her a round of applause. That's it. Welcome.
Welcome, Marcia. Welcome, Keisha, and thank you for having me here. And thank you for all the guests. We're all here for you tonight to cheer you on. So, it's been a real pleasure. I, for one, have felt exceedingly joyful when I read the book, because I think when I became an author, or even prior to that, I discovered my learning style was different. Sometimes it would take me six times to write one sentence. And it was only, I think it was in the late 1990s, it was mentioned, I lost my father, so I was doing a course and it was taking me ages to get this program. As a matter of fact, I failed it 3 times. And this wonderful tutor said, have you been tested for dyslexia? I didn't know what she was talking about, and I never have been. I've just kind of struggled through life, to be quite honest with you. But now I'm trusting that Keisha will guide me. So the book for me is, I just think it is very, very timely. I think it's beautifully written, and I just think she's done an amazing job in highlighting why so many of our children struggle in school with a lot of different topics. And, have been written off, from school. A lot of, apparently the research has said a lot of the prisons population, there's a high number of them that are experiencing dyslexia, and the whole system, the education system is only, in my experience, set up for the elites to succeed. So when, people like myself, and a lot of us who are here, when we have any challenges, our parents have never really, never really knew where to go to get help. So we've all struggled on in life. So Keisha, for me, is a real example, leading example of going out there and taking on the challenge to make a difference. So I love this book. I've read it, and I think it's timely. And I think I've said it to Keisha, that every home, schools, university, they need to have a copy or read it, just because I know there's family members who are struggling, and so I'm recommending them as well, just to have a read. Some of us don't like reading as well. So when information is out there to help you, because of probably, fear as well. I invited somebody here tonight because she had she's got diagnosis dyslexia, but the school told her head told her that they didn't want to teach her to read and write because she was going to take the job of a white person. So, these stories need to be shared. And that's why I'm here to cheer Keisha on, and may her work just grow from strength to strength. And I'm sure it will, because she's got Marcia behind her. We've got a lot of other authors in here. We've got Elizabeth, we've got Jessica, and we've got Sandra. I didn't realize. So yeah, we're all out here rooting for you, girl. Go, you rock. You're a real rock star. And you know what I mean? I just think all of us should get their copy, because I've had mine. But make sure I insisted on having a signed copy, to be quite honest with you. And you need to read it over and over again, because we're parents, we're grandparents, and this book is going to help us. Like I said today in the post, it's a game changer for the community, because I tell you, there's lots of people out there that will get the help that they need if they get a copy of this book. And I love the way she said she's called it Learning Differences, you know what I mean? So sometimes labels are very off-putting as well. You probably find that, Keisha, but it's good to have the label tag, because that's the only way you're going to get help. And I do have another colleague who's completing her master's, and I've posted it into the group, and I've told her, I said, get a copy, and you need to go and get diagnosis. So each one teach one. And so thank you. I really appreciate you, the persistence, the tenacity. I just love you, and thank you so much.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. What a wonderful review. Thank you so much, Carol.
Thank you,
and I'm
Carol.
sure, Keisha, do you want to say anything in response to the review?
Yeah, I just want to say I appreciate this woman so much. She's been part of my journey. I went to college with her son, Matthew, back in the day. And since I've started my writing journey, Carol's always been there supporting. She's shared this link. She's always in the background. And she's like, one of those book mummies that I have in the community, like Deanne Heron, who's also on here as well.
Yeah.
And I have so much love and respect and appreciation. So I just want to say, Carol, thank you so much for everything that you've done for me on this journey. It's been amazing.
It's just a drop in the ocean. I'm glad I've met you. You know, you bring me so much joy, because I think we need women like you who have gone through these experiences and to be out there championing the cause for women and children and parents, and keep going. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Carol.
Is Sandra here yet?
Well
is Sandra
done, no.
on? No, not yet. Okay, Steve is here.
No. Okay. Right. I'm now going to, I was just looking for Steve, but I'll just invite him. Our next speaker is a guest speaker whose name is Steve Park, and he's a fellow dyslexic person with dyslexia, and I'm just going to try and find him on the list of people. But Steve, identify yourself if you're here. I'm not sure if he's here yet. Let me have a look in the chat. But if you want to buy, Keisha, if you just want to speak about copy.
Okay, guys. For those
that
haven't got a copy of my book, you can just request a link from me. So what I'll do is a personalized link for you. From that link, you'll get a signed copy. I'm not really pushing to sell the book through Amazon today whatsoever. It has to be through my link for purposes of, I want to give everyone here a signed copy and a personalized one for them to have from this event today. So what I'm going to do is to drop a link in the chat and see if you can, if you want to order the book on there, you can get it there for £10 today. It's normally $14.99 for the book. If you want to get it today, it's £10. So that's what I'm going to do for you as a special. Okay.
Okay. Fabulous, fabulous, Keisha. What we'll do now then is go on to an interview. We'll have a chat.
Yeah.
And then we'll wait, and we'll just see when the others join. But we'll keep going. All right then, Keisha. So on to the interview then. So many things I want to ask you. So firstly, okay, Keisha, you're a mother of 4. Can you tell us the ages and you know, whether they're boys or girls of your children, or whatever gender they are?
I've got 4 children. First one is a girl. She is 22. And second one is a boy who is now 12 in high school. Twins, which is boy and girl, Aaron and Alexa, who is 9. They are 9 years going on 90. So that's my children there. Yeah.
So that's twins.
Yeah. So I've got 4, 2 girls and 2 boys.
So what was it like finding out you were going to have your 3rd child, and then you found out you're having twins?
Wow, Marcy, that was a revelation and a half. I remember my husband looking at the scan, and he could see everything on the screen, but I was lying on the bed, so I couldn't see.
Yeah.
Then when the lady said to me, just a long story, so I'm going to do it really, really short. There's one heartbeat and there's the other. Now, that was a shock and a half. Around Jamaica, there was crying, oh, I'm having twins. And she's like, what are you crying for?
Yeah. And then you had a boy and a girl. So,
because when you think twins, you just think straight away 2 of everything.
2 of the same, don't you? Yeah. So have you got 2 boys and 2 girls then?
Yeah.
That's fabulous, amazing. Okay. So I'm just going to say one of the important things that I observed with you in working with you on the book, and before, you know, is but particularly when we were working on the book, was the way that you inspire and empower your children. I remember us having a call one morning before they went off to school. Okay. So what is it that you say? What is the routine in the morning?
Yeah.
Apart from hurry up.
Apart from getting them out the door. So from they've been young now, from I had them and they've been really young, I've always said to them, I am amazing, I am powerful, I can do anything, I can achieve anything. And then the last one is I am Aaron, I am Algie, I am Alexa. And trying to get Leah to do it sometimes, but she's on the internet. I'm too old
Okay.
for that now.
Okay.
Yeah,
But that's what
so
you would do every morning as they go off to school. And it's like
yeah,
it's a declaration, it's an affirmation, it's speaking, you know, blessings and
yeah,
positivity over their lives.
yeah.
So yeah, why was that important?
That's important because we, as you know, we're in a really this world is really unjust in many ways.
Yeah.
It's culturally we go through so much, and there are Black children growing up in a country where that's not there. That's where they originated from.
Mhm.
So it's important for them to understand that no matter what the color that they are, they can achieve and they can do whatever it is, whatever challenges. Or my children are also neurodiverse, just to let you know, and that's a big thing for me to empower them to understand that. Look at me, and it's important for me to show them that it can be done. So
Okay.
yeah, it's just empowering them.
That's great. That's really, really great. And that's a great tip, I think, for any of us as
Yeah,
who have young children around us, just to keep on injecting that confidence and self-belief as much as we possibly can. So, Keisha, growing up in Jamaica, there was one part of the book, I think this was before we edited, that said, I was brilliant at netball. I was great at football, great netball. I loved it, but I couldn't catch a ball and I always used to trip over. So tell us about netball, please.
so growing up in Jamaica, I really loved the game. I loved the whole thing about it, the outfit, the top and the skirt that we had to wear and everything, the colors as well, because we used to play in yellow and white. But I had real difficulty with my coordination, and at the time I didn't know what all that was. So for me
No.
to concentrate and catch the ball, chances are I might drop it. And my feet, my brain is not coordinating with my movements as fast as it should do. So I can trip over, it can fall through my hand. So yeah, I wasn't the girl that was going to get to do the goal attack and all of that.
Oh, okay. Just to make you feel better, I wasn't goal attack either. But I was goal defense. I think because
Goal
I was
defense.
whatever height and build, no, not necessarily the build, but whatever height I am now was the height I
Yeah.
was at 11 and 12. So I was the tall, big, strong girl at the time. But Keisha, so tell me, because again, and for anyone else who wants to kind of understand neurodiversity, so was that in relation to dyslexia or dyspraxia?
That was
Why
in relation to they can overlap in with
yeah.
the move. The things can overlap. However, it's more the DCD, so it's the coordination one. So it's the way of me, the way my brain works is catching up with other parts of her body that's supposed to be moving. Even going simple things like going upstairs or coming downstairs, chances are I might slip or I might drop a mug or a cup of my. I remember when I used to work in the office, I used to come home and I used to see massive bruises on my leg, the side of my leg. You'd think that, how could I get this bruise? And what it was, I always walk into the side of my desk, but because I don't remember that I've done it, so I don't remember where this bruise come from. So it's my coordination and bumping into doors as well. I'll do that easily.
Wow. So I know that, in all families, there's always there's a child or two that people say, you're clumsy, you're this, you have dropped it, this, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So what happens with that child is then they just get labeled with the fact that, oh, we know you're going to drop it. We knew it would be you. It's always you and whatever. Yeah. So was that your experience? And how do you think, what would you be your advice to a family? If there's a child in that family that was always bumping themselves and dropping things, what would you say? Because I don't know if you were told those things like, oh, you're clumsy, this, you that,
Definitely. And it's that patience and understanding that there must be a reason why this is happening. It's getting to the deeper underlying issues that may be going on. A child's not going to be dropping things and doing certain things because because of nothing, there's always something. So the key is having that patience, having that understanding, that to seek that support and that help. Any parents who needs help with their children, the first port of call is their SENCO, which every school has a SENCO team, and they can sit down and talk to them. Chances are they're going to fob you off and say, no, we don't see this. But as a parent, you know your child better than anybody else. You know what your child has challenges with. You know what, if they had delayed development, whether they talked later on, walked later on, been able to tie a shoelace. I'll give you a prime example right now, what I'm dealing with as a mom with neurodiverse child. Alexa came to me and said to me, oh, mommy, I need to talk to you about something today. And I was like, what is it, Alexa? And she said, at swimming, I'm really struggling because I'm taking a lot longer to get ready and to change and to do all of those things. Now, Alexa's dyspraxic, so she's need of movement with stuff. And she said, the teacher said to me that if I can't hurry up, and it pains my heart and getting emotional talking about it now, because the teacher said to her, if you can't cope, if you can't keep up with the speed at which everybody else is going in, you're going to get on a yellow card, or we're going to take you out of the group or something like that. And I'm like, whoa, this is Monday morning, you know, I'll be at the school with this issue, because you can't say that to her. You need to understand that I've gone in there and put interventions into place to help her and support her. And now you're going to exclude her from swimming because she can't keep up with the rest of the children. So these are challenges that our children will be having in the background, and you have to recognize them and be able to get that support and kick down them doors in them schools if you have to.
Okay. So parents need to really be aware that they...
Advocates,
I mean, I saw a message come into the chat just saying Senkos can be quite dismissive, which I agree with. I know that, you know, in supporting my daughter with my grandson, that she's had to push and push and push to get any additional, whether it's assessments or whether it's support, for them to go further, you know, with my grandson. So so what if a parent also is neurodiverse, and which also I think that happens like that as well. So where can a parent firstly get support then? Because if you're trying to liaise with the school, if you're trying to speak to different professionals, who supports those parents to then advocate for their children?
Parents, with parents now is actually identifying that there is something going on there. You know, I myself, I can always, when I'm around people, I can pick up on certain things, but I'm not a professional to go around to be a psychologist diagnosing people, but I can see it. So parents now, they really have to look into themselves and see, what have I always struggled with? What have been my challenges throughout my life? Because these conditions are hereditary, meaning if a parent have it, it's come up from a grandparent to someone in the family. So, and there's a lot of undiagnosed people in our community, and that's really causing a massive struggle, because recently things like ADHD has come to the forefront a lot more, and especially in the Black women and in women as well. So it's those things of identifying that yes, there is something, and then getting that support, where reach out to other people who have, people like myself, reach out, do a little research. There's things like the British Dyslexic Association. There's people like myself who can signpost you to the support that you need. So, and always remember that you're not the only one out there who's going through these struggles. There's other people who go through it. So the more you can open up about it, the more you find allies, if that makes sense, where I find it every time where I'm often on set, you know, and I'll just say, Joanna's on here, and it's a testament to her, where we spoke on set, and I just said one thing to her, and she picked up and said, oh, I'm going through those challenges with my own children, you know. So it's about opening up and talking, and having that relatability, and knowing that there's support out there for you if you reach out.
That's brilliant. I mean, it seems to me that, especially, well, for me, especially since I've known you, Keisha, that, because obviously since I've known you, I've had, my daughters have done some tests, I've done some tests. One of my daughters thought she had ADHD. So then we all took the test, and I came out with the highest
Score.
thing for
Yeah.
ADHD. I did.
Yeah.
Then we did some other tests for autism, and I came out and it said, "You're autistic." And I'm like, wow. So it seems to me that actually everyone is neurodiverse.
I just want to hold my hand up to that one.
What's happening?
Honestly, Marcia, I can vouch for this, and the statistics are saying first it was 1 in 10 people with dyslexia, okay? And it's gone now to 1 in 5. But I can assure you, because wherever I go and I open my mouth, I'm surrounded by 4 other dyslexic or 3 other dyslexic or 2 other dyslexics. So how can that be 1 in 5 when I'm saying it's 1 in 2 right now? Now progress. I really do.
Yeah, I'm just going to mute. Just mute attendees if I can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think Vanessa's muted now. Yeah. So it's much more. So then, does that mean then? So it's very complex. I mean, so does that mean then that we are diverse as opposed to, I suppose, where the term diverse comes in with neuro is that there are differences.
Yeah.
So where it was thought that neurologically people were kind of all the same, but actually there's a multitude of children and adults who are at different parts of different spectrums or of a spectrum. Okay. Okay. The other thing I'd like to touch on in our chat was another key area that was significantly highlighted when we were working on the book. Both myself and the editor really related, and this was about issues around imposter syndrome, anxiety, depression, feeling that you're not good enough, not having the real confidence in your ability, despite having absolutely great ability, having inbuilt greatness, which we know that about you, Keisha. Yet, this thing, anxiety.
Yeah.
Let's have a little talk about that, because that has to come hand in hand with neurodiversity.
It does. It really does, in a big way. And it's something that I've never opened up until the book came out, that, we've all had our struggles and day to day. We still do every day. Everybody's a work in progress. And my massive part of my anxiety came when I was in my job in the corporate world, in local government.
What was your job? What was your job, Keisha?
So my job in local government, I worked for a local government association, which meant all the local authorities in England, Scotland and Wales were members of this organization.
Okay.
So I was doing the PA work for the administrative assistant for the chief executive assistant chief. Role, and doing the events as well. And also one day I remember setting off to work, leaving, and this is the time was the worst part of going through the undiagnosed dyslexia that I had. And I was having so many challenges in the workplace and a lot of other things that was going on. I remember one day driving to work, and I pulled up, for those who are familiar with Manchester, right beside of the Gamecock pub, which is no longer there, but the building is still there. And I had to pull up, and I was grabbing my chest. I was really, really hyperventilated. I was crying. I was really upset, very upset. And this anxiety came through me going into the office. And I remember I got on the phone and rang my team leader, and I said, I really can't come in today. I rang my husband and I said to him, I have to come out of this job. I really need to, because this is and it wasn't an easy decision, because we have 4 children, 6 of us, household of 6. I was the main biggest earner in the role, but it's something that I had to do, because if I hadn't done that and come out of that job, I wouldn't have found the world of I'm dyslexic, because I wouldn't have gone to study. I would have been getting my pension in that job, living till I'm 60, rocking, going in there. So that anxiety came, and then I went back into work and I spoke to them, and they sent me to CBT counseling, and just wasn't working for me. I went to a few sessions and didn't help. I went to a few sessions because I found I was just talking about the same thing over and over every time in the session. It just wasn't for me, and it wasn't culturally appropriate either. So which is important. So that just didn't happen. So yeah, that was my massive part of anxiety. And it was through that I was going through in the workplace. I was having a lot of challenges, but I didn't know what was causing it. They didn't seek to find out either. So I was just in darkness really until that light came.
Okay. So Keisha, though, just talking about, I mean, we're talking about lots and lots of labels. So is by, you know, I mean, part of some of the advocacy work you do and other people do around dyslexia and neurodivergence in general is about people taking opportunities to check whether they are neurodiverse. But then doesn't that mean just adding more labels? How else does someone benefit from knowing, you know, I know I'm dyslexic or I know I'm ADHD? What are the benefits? Because it just sounds like just another label.
I'm so glad you asked that question, because this is one of the things that we're battling with awareness, especially in the Black community. And I've got to go there tonight. And the case is that for me, those labels that I have found out that I've got, it's helped me to get the support that I needed. I showed the difference between, I was studying at university, I didn't know I had dyslexia. So I came out with a first class honors degree. However, I didn't have no support. And that was the last few weeks of my degree that I found out about that. When I found out now and I got diagnosed, and I had that piece of paper, that report, pages and pages of report that said, this is the support that I would benefit from. This is what all the issues are. That gave me the gateway to apply to DSA, which is a Disability Student Allowance.
Yes.
That helps me to get that support to be doing my master's in university.
Yes.
When I racked up at MMU, bless them, thank you MMU for all the support you've given me, oh my Lord. And I racked up and I had that piece of paper. And
the window where I am.
Say that again.
See, out of the window where I am now.
They honestly, and Marcy, they said to me, have you applied for this? And I said, no. They helped me to send off the form to DSA, helped me to go through it, signed it, because they have to give a little statement. And then I had an appointment with them afterwards to go through my needs, what I needed to be my master's. So I had a PLP in place. For those that don't know what PLP is a personal learning plan. So that tells them I'm dyslexic, and there's certain adjustments and interventions that they need to put in place to help me succeed on this course. So when I had my laptop, I got a laptop, printer, all the assistive technology that's it's not a label. It's well, I own it as what it is for me. It's part of me. But that label there, having that and the report, gets you the support that you need to make it better.
So it's somehow getting into people's psyche that there are benefits. So obviously, you know, historically there's been this label, you black this, you black that, whatever, the M word, whatever. And those sorts of labels we don't want.
Negative.
However, what this is about is about leveraging the support that you should have been having anyway, and creating opportunity for your life, enabling you to achieve more with the support that is there. There. Keisha, do you ever feel that by having the diagnosis, by having the labels, do you ever feel that you are discriminated? I'm talking about since you've had the labels.
No, I've never seen it, because whenever I open up to people, I always bring the positive side of about what I've achieved. And you know, I often meet people and they've never said anything negative about dyslexia, and they're always so happy, and it's always welcoming, because society is now waking up to the greatness of neurodiversity and having that dyslexic thinking and that dyslexic brain. So it for me, it's get my diagnosis and everything, and the work that is open, if anything, is giving me that you know, that help to be in certain spaces as well, to be saying, right, right, she's doing what she's doing. We were raising awareness, you know.
Brilliant. I mean, there's just two more. I've got two more questions, but the first one I would say is, how do you get diagnosed? Because it sounds like hard work. What would be, so there's two things. As a child, we've suggested Senko.
Senko, yeah.
As an adult, what does an adult do?
As an adult, I give you this different scenarios and different, because everyone's not the same, and one size doesn't fit all. So if you're working and you're in a workplace, you can get that help there, and it's by law that you get that help to be able to if you identify, and they've also identified that, you know, there's some bit of challenges going on here. In your performance and your production and what the output from your work. They by law, it's in their best interest to get you that support to get diagnosed and be able to speak to you on an individual basis, because when if you've met one dyslexic person, you've just met one dyslexic person, right?
That
out there, that not because I'm dyslexic, you're dyslexic, our needs can be completely different, our cultural, so many things that intersectionality that's in there as well. So the workplace, if you're in the employment, workplace is the best place to get it. If you're studying, whoa, sweet.
That's the best place.
Sweet, because they will help you.
The best place.
I got my paid for in my university, and they paid it, I think it was about £300 to £350. Now this is a massive thing of the barrier of people getting diagnosed, because no one sees, sometimes don't often see that as a priority.
The benefits.
And the benefits of it, and not a lot of people have disposable income of £300 to go and sit in a 3-hour test. Diagnosed as well.
So you have to pay £300 for that.
You'd have to
unless you're in college, or
university, school, and workplace. If not, sometimes there are organizations out there who offers like a screening. So a screening kind of gives you an indication of whether you are dyslexic. So if you take a screening, which is just a little test, and then it gives you an indication, worth pursuing further to see down the line, because it's best for you to know that you're not dyslexic than you don't know that you are dyslexic and you're struggling that down. So look at it that way, and it's an investment in you as well, in your life, and be able to get that support.
Great. And then my second question, my final question is, so we read about your life in school, in work, at home, supporting your family. We read all of that in the book. So we leave everyone to read that in the book. But you need to tell us about this. You mentioned it earlier about being on set. So as well as, Keisha, how do you do all of this? You know? So Keisha, you're also
my girl Joanna's
doing
on here.
some other things, stuff.
I did touch a little bit.
Tell us about your hobbies. Tell us about what you've been doing. It's not even a hobby now, but tell us.
This week has been a full-on week, and I have some amazing friends. There's a few of them on here that we've met and become friends on.
Brilliant.
In the world of television.
All right, tell us.
Oh yeah. It's always been a dream of mine growing up again. It's been, working in that scene. I used to remember watching telly and thinking, seeing them people walking around in the background and looking and looking.
Yeah, you want to be one.
One day. So the opportunity, and so I do. This week has been a full-on week, and I'm so grateful that it's been such a busy week. Monday, I was filming for Emmerdale, which I got a little part on there. Can't say much, but I'm a little part there. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, I was filming for a new Disney show that's been filmed at the moment. The story coming out. And Friday, yesterday, I was filming back at Hollyoaks. So so I do, Coronation Street, Emmerdale, Hollyoaks, and Waterloo Road as well. Did that 3 days.
I suppose, I mean, I kind of was like, I feel tired listening to Keisha, all this up and down everywhere. Even though I've started.
I enjoy it, Marcy. That's what I do.
Keisha, I was going to say to you, but not everybody. But this is it. Can everybody be Keisha Swaby and getting her first degree, getting the master's, doing this on TV, writing a book, da, da, da. You know, you make it sound as if being dyslexic, being neurodivergent, like, oh, it's nothing, it's a breeze, is it? And then we'll move on. You make it look like a breeze, girl.
It's not, but you know what? As what this is gonna sound like a cliche, what people always say. And they say if you do what you love in life and what you enjoy,
True.
it may look like it's a lot. It's not, yeah. Because as you know what is the set life is, Marcia. You know what a set life is. And you know what you do on there. So it's if you love what you do and you enjoy doing it, it's not
thrilling.
work, yeah,
thrilling. Yeah, I do get it. I did
because
it's not out yet. I did do a music video.
Get you
in a little skimpy a rap video, actually, in a little skimpy bikini. Not but it's not out yet. But I have to say, when I did that, I did that last year. It hasn't come out yet. And I really got so much from it personally, because it was something I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So sorry to cut you there, Keisha. We've got some of our speakers in the room. So
yes, we have. Get them on. Yeah,
so
get
we're going to start with Sandra.
Sandra, there.
If you can get a review. Yeah, Sandra Smith.
Hey.
Quickly, yeah.
Hello. Shall I put my video on?
Yes,
please.
I'll put my video on.
Please. Yeah,
yes,
that's fine.
I'm on my
Sandra?
way. Oh, I'm going to put my video on.
You?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Start your video.
Yeah.
Please. Are you in the car?
Shall I get out the car? Oh, here I am.
Are you all right there? Yeah, you're fine there.
I am. Thank you.
Did see you face to face yesterday, person to touch. That was great. Yeah. All right then. So here you are. Over to you. We're going to get a review.
Yeah.
Another review.
Okay. I've read your book twice, Keisha. And, as somebody who works in school, I've got to say that there are times when you do see children with learning difficulty, but you just don't have that time. You don't have that time to give that child all those, what can I say, all that they need. Because some children will say to you, Miss, I think I've got dyslexia. They'll say it very loosely. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe this child does have a need. So it's actually made me a bit more vigilant in the classroom. Now, I'm going to say congratulations, Keisha, and in light of the Windrush generation, you are truly, an inspiration to us all. What I loved about your book is the open discussion about, living with dyslexia, and your openness to discuss your struggles and not being ashamed. And what I admired most about it is your resilience. You really had that quest and you really want to learn. You want to learn, but you just don't know how, because something is just not working. And so, to spend all those years up to the age of 41, I have been keeping a timeline, up to the age of 41, you suddenly realize that there is something wrong. It's an absolute testament to you. And then on top of that, to add to that, this is what I liked about the book. I'm not going to give everything away. To your delight, or should I say, to your acceptance, you realize that you not only do you have dyslexia, but you have dyspraxia. So you have to live, you're living with both. You're living with both traits. I'm not going to say learning needs. And the book just opens up a lot of food for thoughts. I've actually written something there on the chat. It opens a lot of food for thoughts. And like you said, there are 1 in 5 people with dyslexia. I would like to say that maybe there are even more, walking around in the community, or I wouldn't say walking around with us in the community, but they are with us in the community. something that makes me so proud is to read about a Black woman who has triumphed through all the odds, and you've used all your resources. And I'm saying every single resource that you have. I mean, just this audience here today just says, who you are. So you've used everything, and going through school, leaving school with no GCSEs. I can imagine just how hard that must have been for you, feeling
Yeah.
worthless, if I can use this, for feeling not as good as everyone else, feeling there is something wrong with me. And back in those days, our parents, they didn't understand, this backwardness, they would call it. Don't bring this backwardness in the house. It's just not on. Everybody is bright and they learn and they exceed and excel. So despite your learning difficulties, you have the power within you to overcome. And this book should be on every single person's bookshelf. It should be in school. I'd highly recommend this in school. And not only that, I actually think that young learners, because it's such a nice, easy read, and it just follows through and it flows through so well. I actually think that, in terms of children learning about themselves and learning about other children, with the traits. I'm not going to say learning needs. This is my new buzzword now, with the traits. They can then pick up, and some children will recognize themselves in your book. So it should be in school. Highly recommended. If you work with children, if you're a mentor, read. It's a good book to read. If you're in social services, I think that anybody who's working with children, this is a nice, easy read. It's not using these big words that you don't understand, and you've got to get the dictionary every 5 minutes because you don't understand it. It's easy reading, it's flowing, and yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to part 2.
Thank you so much, Sandra.
Wonderful.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you, Sandra.
Thank you, my darling.
Wonderful.
Massive thank you, because Sandra's been there
You're
on the
welcome.
journey as well, just like Carol has been, and you guys have been just fab with your support. So thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sandra. Have a lovely evening.
You're welcome.
You look all
Thank
glammed
you.
up,
I'm
ready
off
to go
that.
out.
Yes, thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you. Blessing.
Okay.
Blessing.
Wonderful. We're now going to go on to our guest speaker, let me find him, Mr. Steve Park. And Steve is a fellow dyslexic, and I think dyspraxic as well, like Keisha. He's a speaker and an amazing guy, and with an amazing story. I had the privilege to hear a bit of his story recently. So Steve, over to you. The floor is yours. Okay, welcome. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much, and congratulations as well, because I had the pleasure of meeting Keisha at the NEC, and we were on a panel group together, and just hearing her story, and obviously everyone else's, but hearing her story, and then also with the book, and then getting to know her more over the weeks and months has been amazing. It's been inspiring to the fact that I'm doing a book now as well. So it's taken everything, full 360 to a large degree. But so, but yeah, with my story, I mean, I'm 50 now. So when I grew up, very similar to Keisha, my parents were from the Windrush generation, so they came over literally on the boat, and they moved in with their brother in Highfield, because I'm born and raised in Leicester. So we initially moved to Highfields, and then my parents bought their own house in Rushmead, and we'd grown up there. Me and my sister had grown up there, but all throughout my schooling, obviously having dyslexia and dyspraxia, and dyscalculus as well, having those sort of neurodiverse differences. Back then in the 70s, there was nothing there wasn't even a test to address yourselves on. There was just nothing. You were just essentially put in the slow class for maths, you put in the slow class for English, and you were just sort of left to languish there. So I found it really challenging. I have some marvelous memories of great friends and great teachers, but every day, I think as I was growing up, especially as I got older and you got out of that sort of primary school level and you moved to essentially secondary school, bigger school, I felt sick going to school more days than not because I felt so anxious. I knew I was entering, not only you're entering a zone where you're in a minority being black, but also I was sort of the small chubby kid, so I was teased for that, and for the and my learning challenges and my learning differences. So it was almost like the trifecta of having a difficult situation, and nobody wants to literally walk into the lion's den every single day. Kind of like how Keisha mentioned in regard to going to work. You hit that stage where your mind and body are like, I can't do this anymore. And so there was a lot of days, there were more days than not like that I just couldn't go into school or didn't want to go into school, and my parents would literally have to force me to go in to a certain degree. And it was only after I'd had a few mentors. I had a mentor that one of the PE teachers noticed something in me, because again, being back in secondary school, I was I was very big for my age, sort of height wise and build wise, but I was still, I was like 17 stone as a 14-year-old. So I got teased for that. But if you remember back in the old days, they used to have to do the cross country running, and you can imagine I would have hated that. I really, really didn't like that. And he gave me the keys to the gym. He said, look, I know you hate this. Here are the keys to the gym. We got the cross country run, knock yourself out. And so for 3 or 4 months, I had the run of the gym at the secondary school I went to. And that really helped my confidence, because that was one thing I could do better than anybody else, because I learned every bit of equipment in the gym. My daddy bought me Arnold Schwarzenegger's Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding. So then I started looking into bodybuilding and how to develop muscles and so on. So within 3 or 4 months, I knew more about the body than anybody else in that school, including the teachers. And that really boosted my confidence. That was sort of one of the memorable points. I remember having a mentor that sort of helped me feel better about myself. And then that helped me go onto the journey of sort of the physical fitness and health. And I started to do natural bodybuilding competitions back then at 17, even up to the age of 50 now. I still partake. I train clients, and I also work with neurodiverse children, basically sort of helping them with either their studying, their sort of integration, sort of personal integration, and developing themselves and their confidence in a world that sometimes isn't set up to help us really. And that's how you do the speaking, the motivational speaking, just to let people know things can work out. The way you have to navigate the world will be different to a lot of people. And even, as Keisha said, you can have two people with dyslexia, dyslexia, and the same condition on paper, but we will look at the world and navigate the world differently, even though on paper we're the same in a sense. I found for myself, I found it really difficult with the written word, but I'm able to give talks to like 500, 600, 700 people, seemingly off the top of my head, because I remember everything. I practice it as I go for my walks, I meditate, and I remember everything I'm going to say. So I don't need it written down. I don't need a board. I don't need a teleprompter. I can do it off the top of my head. So it seems super easy to me, but that, I guess you could say, is my superpower, that I can do that kind of thing where somebody else, maybe without that degree of neurodiversity, would be scared, totally scared out of their skin to do something like that. For me, it's the easiest part of anything. So for what I love to do is just to show people that you can do anything you want. Very similar to how Keisha sort of raises the children and teaches them to look at the world. You can do anything you want. It's just that the way you're going to navigate the world is going to be a little bit differently. And having people like Keisha and hopefully, great people that can help youngsters understand that they can do anything. They'll just have to navigate the world differently. But there are people that have done it already and know the way to do it, almost like having a cheat code. So we can help you get there. It's just letting them and helping them to be aware that people are out there like us that are doing everything, you know, same as everybody else. We're writing books, we're doing talks, we're mentoring, we're doing all the things other people do, but we just do it in a different way, slightly.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay.
Are you
You're
finished,
very
Steve?
welcome. All done.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Keisha, definitely you respond to Steve.
Yeah,
Can we?
thank you. Yeah, I met Steve, as I said, at the Dyslexia show in March, and honestly, being on the panel with him, so much energy, and it was really good to get the perspective from a Black man as well, because you're always hearing these comparisons to people that would find it difficult to relate to when it comes to dyslexia and dyspraxia, because in this space, this is why I've always advocated for more people from the Black community to come forward and speak up, because if I can't see it, I can't be it. So it's important for our young children to see that.
I love that again, Keisha. You've got these amazing sayings. What was that one? If I can't see it, that's a good one. If I can't see it, I can't be it. Yeah, that's a powerful message, and it's so true that you know, children need to see themselves. They need to be see themselves represented in all aspects of life and all abilities as well. Yeah. Okay, we're now going to go on to your second book reading, Keisha.
Okay.
And do you have it to the ready?
I have.
Okay. All right. So we're ready to hear some more from the book then. Okay.
Okay. So because many people have said that I'm always out there kind of helping other people, so I think this will be quite fitting. And this chapter is called Helping Others to See Their Gift. So dyslexia is not a disease, nor initially it's or a disability or liability. Sorry, it's a different view to the world, and that was by Alex Olanja, from somebody that I know from LinkedIn, and he's also dyslexic. So I have a passion for helping others, as I have needed help myself. So I know that others need my help too. I've lived it, and you can't beat the lived experience of anyone. As my value for help goes a long way, I want to help others that may be going through exactly what I've been through. The great Les Brown said, your story will become the blueprint for someone else going through what you have been through. I created Empowering Dyslexics to be that source of empowerment for so many. Not everyone is dyslexic, but even if they are not dyslexic themselves, I bet they know someone who is. I bet they know someone who is. Supporting and understanding are a big deal to dyslexics. So we need that support to get on with what we need to do. And we need understanding of our challenges so that we can outsource things that we are not so strong, which is not our strong point. My vision for Empowering Dyslexic is massive in every sense. I want all dyslexics and everyone to know that they are here for a purpose, and they just need to find what they're passionate about and focus on that. And that's it there.
Thank you, Keisha. That was wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Excuse me, you just caught me. I feel like I'm watching a movie or at the theatre, and I'm just eating some popcorn. Anyway, we're now going to have our second guest speaker. It's a beautiful lady, Vanessa Pete, who is also one of the case studies within the book. So Vanessa, are you ready? It's a little bit earlier than we suggested. Are you there and are you ready?
She was on earlier on. I did see her.
Yeah, she's on.
Hello, hi, good evening.
Yeah, that's great, Vanessa. Yeah, that's great, Vanessa. Fabulous. Okay, fabulous. Okay. Oh, it sounds like there's an echo somewhere. It sounds like there's an echo somewhere. Someone playing it.
If you're playing it, if you're able to come back to me, that would be ideal, only because I'm just about to go through a low data zone as I'm en route to my office.
That's fine.
Okay,
Is that okay?
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well now if everyone could kind of open their cameras, and we're just going to go into a, say, 15 minutes of questions and answers and comments for Keisha. So, so we're not spotlighting Keisha. So if you have a question or a comment or congratulations for Keisha, the time is now. I know we've had lots of messages in the chat, but yeah, if you have any questions for Keisha or for Steve even about dyslexia, we can actually pop you both on a panel now, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no problem.
Together.
Yeah,
So we'll have Steve and we'll have
Hi,
Keisha,
everybody.
and we'll pop Keisha on as well. And then, yeah, I mean, we could further the discussion. I mean, if you want me to kick off with the first question, I can do.
Yeah.
Okay, so why is it that a lot of people are diagnosed when they're adults?
Good question. Yeah, I'll take that one, and I'll Steve, so for now.
Yeah.
We'll go back to the same thing as what we discussing earlier on.
Right, let me just check if are you
There's
playing
another device.
Keisha? Oh, that's it. Should be all right now.
Okay. So yeah, it's going back to the education system. I was talking about getting that help and support. Many of our children and a lot of generations, and I'm sure quite a few of you guys have seen the documentary that was called Subnormal on BBC a while back. And I'm sorry that she's not on here tonight, but Maisie was part of that. She's another advocate for dyslexia. And the thing is, they were put in these schools because they thought that they weren't up to scratch, and all it was that they had these learning differences, which was undiagnosed going on. So it's from generation to generation, and lack of understanding meant that a lot of people within our community right now at a certain age group are having that undiagnosed dyslexia or other learning differences going on because of that lack of awareness, and them slipping through the education system from primary school to secondary school and all the way through to college. And what you've seen recently is a massive influx of people getting diagnosed in university, because those who are brave enough and have gone on to doing that higher education, that's where they're getting diagnosed, because they find that, I'm sorry that Carol's left now. There was another Carol Stewart on here. She got diagnosed, I think she was 55 last year, and she was doing a master's at universities at that age. And she talks openly about her struggles that she was having. She was having challenges on that master's, and lo and behold, she got tested and she was diagnosed with dyslexia. So and she's at that certain age group as well, an age category that was slipped through the net and have been struggling in silence, really. Steve?
Okay, Steve?
Yeah, no, I think you made some great points, because I mean, even for myself, I wasn't officially diagnosed until in my 30s, but I knew that as sort of mentioned before, I knew I was different from an early age, right from primary school to secondary school. One of my tutors at university actually thought I might be, and that's what sort of sparked my enthusiasm to sort of learn more how the brain works, and sort of essentially how the neurodiverse brain works, sort of chemically as well as in a physical sense. And he would allow me, because he would say to me, I sort of studying sports at the time, and he said to me, I can see you know this stuff in your sleep, but when I do a test or we do an exam and I have you write it down on paper, it's like you don't understand it. It's like you can't get the words out on paper, as in what's in your mind. And he allowed me to do my exams and tests on a board. or he would ask me the questions. He would ask me the questions, and I'd verbally answer him back the answers, or I'd draw anatomical figures on the board that may be necessary to answer the question. And I since I'd done that, I was able not only to pass that with an A, but I was also able to do a master's degree, and so a master's and the degree as well at the same time, because I'd found out how my brain works. I found out, okay, if I'm learning information, as long as I can give you the answer verbally, it's not a problem. I'll either know it or I won't know it. But if I do know it and I'm able to give it verbally, it's going to work. And I, for me, the only realization, as we were saying, came at university when that teacher pointed it out to me, that tutor pointed it out to me, and then I was able to do my own studying into what the condition may be, the traits of the condition. And even then, I only had a small window. I only knew I was dyslexic. I didn't know about the other aspects, about the dyspraxia, and all the other points, and sort of the overarching neurodiverse side of things. But it does seem to happen at that stage. I know when I was back in my early formative days, I was just put in the slow class. If it wasn't something to do with either art or engineering, anything I could take apart and physically deconstruct in my brain in 3D and put back together again, I was put into the slow class for. So I'm sure there's many thousands of people in the same boat where they just discarded into the slow class until they get up to that stage where they can start to look into things themselves, as Keisha said, maybe at university, later on in life, when they can actually think and have options of looking into things more so.
Yeah, definitely.
Steve,
That's okay, you're welcome.
I'm just checking in the chat now if there's any questions or comments. Is there anyone waiting to comment? If so, just unmute and start talking. Okay. Shall I ask you another question then?
And then,
yeah.
Do you have another question?
We're ready.
We've got some more people coming in. All right, I'll tell you what we'll do, rather than stretching out for questions, can we just take a 5-minute comfort break and then we'll come back. So stay logged in, don't get a drink, do what you need to do, powder your nose, and then we'll be back in time to hear Vanessa speak. And if there's any music, Yannick, that would be great, just to play a bit of music in the background. That would be wonderful. Okay, so see you guys. Listen, I can see most of you of Caribbean and African heritage. When I say 5 minutes, I mean 5 minutes. Not. All right, see you shortly.
That's a good point.
Bye. Bye.
I like that.
Got any music, Jan?
Yeah, where I come from. Hey. This is real. Friends from was a baby, wrap up in a nappy. Me never ever like to see me mommy unhappy. So me go married to the money under a canopy. Cause me believe say every black man can happy. Because when me love you with me that the love things. Me and Teflon see up, also kill up on the hill. Grandma man, also bill when me say ill. Me a talk about love to kill. I me don't know about Jack. When it comes to money, me say me know about that. And if I JSE, me say me sure about that. And if I make it in a life, then me sure about that. Oh, where I come from, everyone's happy. So me call while she can tell it to say. One go tell what she that I'm coming from. Been dreaming about money all afternoon because making money is always on my mind. Ooh, Lord, gonna always find my peace on from the extent that making money is always on. Somebody's the mother of the never know she. From me up the street, me account like Ursula's. I say, where I come from, everyone's out. But they bring me beyond, don't carry me beyond. Take me to everyone's crying, crying, oh, where I come from. Oh, love, love, what you bring me. Everyone's mine. Hey, when I look at you, I know I'm blessed, and I close my eyes and smile. Sometimes I feel the richest like Babylon, and I've done my best, so everything's alright inside.
Okay, welcome back. Welcome back. You all right, Keisha?
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good, you're good. Okay. And just before Vanessa speaks, let's talk about how the book's doing.
The book's doing great, you know. The book's getting a lot of exposure in regards to LinkedIn, places like that. And the audio will be done soon. So that'll be coming out this month.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this month the audio will be complete.
Brilliant.
And that will give a lot more options to people to you know, access the book and the way it is yeah, you got no excuse then to say, I don't like reading a book or holding a book in my hands. It's there in audio.
Yeah.
You can listen to it whenever, whatever you're doing, driving on your journey.
Fabulous.
Yeah, so.
Fabulous. And I'm seeing you it's like you're really on a tour now with your book. You're at events all over the country. You're either at the top and then you're at the bottom. So where have you been so far exhibiting your book?
Recently I did the big conference in Liverpool, which was ADHD conference and neurodiversity. And it was important for me to be in that space because one, I seems like I could count on my hand the representation in the room. Also the book, being the only Black author book being displayed there as well. Those little things that have to show up in certain space. And people say, oh, I'll see you there and there and there, but sitting on my yard ain't gonna get me them book sales and get exposure of showing the book to people. And I went to University the other day, and it was really good, and I made such a good connection with the chancellor, the vice chancellor there, who is a lady that looks like me. And those connections are important, you know, for the book, in getting it in their school and getting it in their university or their college or whatever it may be. So yeah, I've been about Birmingham Black Business Show as well. I was there with the book.
Yes, lovely. And what were you in London for?
I was in London. Oh, wow. I was in London twice, between 2 weeks in a row, because I went to I'm in part of this project called the Storyboard, and where I share my experience of being dyslexic, and I get to put my book and stuff on there and talk about my story. And then I went to the We Are the City celebration event for all the finalists that were there. Yeah, so that was good.
Brilliant. So are you planning to have a face-to-face launch at all?
October, because the first week in October is Dyslexia Awareness Week, and also is Black History Month, as we know. So I've been in talks with the university that I went to get space there to do the launch.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. That's brilliant. And what should we expect at that launch?
The launch is going to be an awareness event. So I want to be able to provide awareness for parents, employers, just general individuals who just want to learn more about learning differences and neurodiversity on the whole, because neurodiversity is a word that is used to describe the umbrella, you can call it, of ADHD, even Tourette's, epilepsy, all of those terms, Draculia, which is the maths one, dyspraxia. There's so many this around there. So that word. So it's an event of awareness with also I want to have the plan to have companies who want to come and talk about their assistive technology that can help people in university, in the workplace. So it's an awareness event, and then at the back of it now, the book launch is going to be at the end of it, where we're going to have a question and answer session and all of that going on.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And I think what interested me just from the interview, before we hand over to Vanessa, was when you mentioned DSA.
Yeah.
Because obviously I have invisible disabilities.
Yeah.
And I'm planning to go back to university.
Yeah.
And I became aware of this disability support
allowance,
which then I thought, wow, this is going to make it possible for me, you know. And so a lot of people don't know about that either.
Yeah.
And so raising the awareness, even at your event, would be fantastic.
Yeah. It's going to be an event.
Know.
Yeah, it's going to be an event to kind of because people are out there, you know, but they don't know that there's so many resources that they can have access to get the help. And if you're not in that space of neurodiversity, or you don't have any connection or contact, you can feel it can be a lonely place to think that I'm going through so much. And I have people reach out to me many times and saying, I'm really struggling at university. I know a girl in Wolverhampton who gave up university because she wasn't getting the support that she needed. And she gave up. That's the big thing, you know, because without you having the support, and this is why I'm telling you that it's not a label. you know, this label is, it gives you that piece of paper of that access to the support, because once now you know, if she had that right support around her, she'd be able to access a support worker. A support worker is someone who's there to read your work when you do your assignments, to make sure that you've got it in an academic style of writing. And I laugh about this one all the time, Marcia, because I remember writing the book and my brain was really struggling to switch between, you know, doing my masters at the same time, academic writing, and then make the book sound like how I see. But
that's wonderful. All right, Vanessa, I think you're ready now. So we're going to just invite our second speaker, Vanessa Pete, who is story is featured in the book. And we're looking forward to hearing what Vanessa has to deliver as also a fellow dyslexic. Let me just find you and get you onto Spotlight for us. Vanessa. Oh, see, that was perfect.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here this evening. And it's been such an honor and a joy to read your incredible book, which is absolutely amazing. And you just touched on something so incredible as well, that you were completing your master's while also finishing your book. And that's not an easy undertaking at all. And especially switching between those two different writing styles and everything. It's been such a pleasure to read. I've learned immense amounts of things that I didn't know about you, and also the journeys of other individuals, and it's been so special. So thank you for inviting me this evening.
Oh, you're welcome. Yes, guys, so for those who have touched in the book and have read the book, for those who's on here and not bought the book yet, there's something I'm going to be seeking you out tonight. Yeah, because you have to read this book to understand, because Vanessa is also an amazing dyslexic. Tell them a bit more about you, Vanessa, and what you do.
Okay, so yes, I am part of the community as well. I'm dyslexic, dyspraxic with visual stress. I am an individual who's got a similar story, really, of being on a journey of being undiagnosed until I was a young adult. So I grew up with my grandmother, who was my guardian from the age of 4.5. And I went through kind of primary school, and there was no indications that were identified at that stage. I was in a very nurturing primary school, which really kind of allowed me to excel and do well and work within the comfort zone that was right for me. But I remember distinctly, going through a phase where I noticed there was a switch and there was a difference between myself and my peers, and I was kind of progressing slower than they were. And that's when I kind of felt a real kind of challenge within myself, and later went on to senior school, wasn't detected there. That started to stimulate behavioral issues in myself, because I just felt I can't do it. I'm, not capable, why bother trying? And just found the whole experience, really quite difficult. And looking back, there was, so many things that were kind of missed and overlooked. And it was only, sadly, when I actually eventually got to university that I was diagnosed as being dyslexic initially. So I was screened for dyslexia. That came back positive, and then I went off to be diagnosed for dyslexia. It was a real relief kind of, finding out that I was dyslexic, but I quickly found myself feeling quite different from my friends. And my friends would kind of often make comments in terms of the way that I would do things, and they were dyslexic as well. And it was like, well, what's wrong with you? And it was only later on that I then discovered that I was dyspraxic as well as being dyslexic. And that just really opened up so much clarity to my full self, and really allowed me to, tap into and lean into all of the support that I needed, which Keisha's just explained. And I couldn't have got through my academic studies without that support. It just would have been completely impossible, you know, for me to have done that. I lean heavily into all of the technology that's available that you get access to. So you've got your laptop, you've got your read and write software, and there's just different things that are there to kind of assist you and support you. And, you know, you've just vulnerably shared, Keisha, openly, psychologically and emotionally, how the diagnosis kind of really impacts so many different things. One, not knowing, but then even knowing, and knowing that you're always feeling like you're, you know, swimming against the tide. Things always feel so much harder than for you. It's almost always taking so much longer for you. And, you know, being on that journey means that you're always battling with that anxiety that's coming up. You're always battling with those negative emotions and thoughts that are coming up. But, you know, it's so positive for the light to be shone on the dyslexic, dyspraxic communities and other neurodiverse individuals, because ultimately we need to be here celebrating, rallying and raising awareness so that individuals can find out at as early a stage as possible. And as a mother, it's allowed me to be able to identify neurodiversities in my children just by finding it out for myself. So that's another empowering thing. Like sometimes people might think, oh, well, what's the point of getting diagnosed as an adult? You know, you might have children, you might have nieces or nephews, and actually gaining an awareness for yourself can really empower the way you support them as a parent or as an aunt or as an uncle, to really help them to really own their true selves and just go forward to be the best that they can be. Because just because they learn in a different way, it doesn't mean that they have not been predestined for something great ahead of them, and just, you know, empowering them to do that. So yes, that's a little bit about my personal journey.
That's amazing, Vanessa. Thank you so much. And
thank you, Vanessa.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go on, Keisha.
No, just go on. Just wanted to say, Vanessa, what was it like when you actually found out yourself? What was that feeling? You know, was it mixed emotions or?
You know what? It was such a relief, because I kind of felt like, oh my gosh, like, right, now I know exactly what's been going on for all of this time.
Yeah.
I felt sad as well, because I felt like, oh gosh, like, you know, I didn't come out with very good GCSE and really struggled at school. And it kind of made me feel like, oh gosh, you know, how much better and better informed could I have been if I had actually known. It was difficult as well. My grandmother's of that older Windrush generation, as Steve mentioned, and you know, she wasn't very accepting, still isn't very accepting of the diagnosis. And that was quite difficult because there wasn't a real openness to really understand, you know, how I kind of saw things and conveyed things, etc., etc. And I think that's a piece of work that we still have to do within the African and Caribbean communities to really empower them to realize that because individuals learn and process things differently, it doesn't mean that they're less capable or able. It's just a unique difference. And for me, it's a unique gift. And it's about being able to lean into that gift in all of its fullness. So yeah, no, it's incredibly difficult. And I think what was even harder was the shock when I found out later on that I was dyspraxic. And I remember when I was being reassessed for dyslexia, I didn't realize that the assessor was screening me for other things at the time. And she said, oh, you know, I've reassessed you and I've got your results. I was like, yeah, okay. What are you going to tell me? I know I'm dyslexic. And then she said to me, no, you're actually predominantly dyspraxic and you're mildly dyslexic. And I was like, what's dyspraxia? Because I hadn't heard about it at that time. So that really kind of blew me away. But I think that really was really eye-opening when I found out I was dyspraxic. And it really helped me to understand some of the processing issues I was suffering with, the organizational challenges that I had. It helped me to really better understand myself. And, you know, I can really relate to what Steve was saying in terms of having that really strong verbal ability. But then when needing to convey that on paper, it's like, oh my gosh, like such a block, so much stress, so much pressure to convey exactly what you want to say down. So I think that diagnosis was like the beginning of a real new journey. And I remember being told very clearly that I needed to stop writing and I needed to be conveying all of my notes and written work onto a laptop. And that was a very, very difficult process because up until then, I'd always predominantly written things. And I remember going through that transition and being quite irritable with my husband at the time about this transition that I was going through, and just basically, you don't know what I'm going through. And, you know, I was in tears and it was just so stressful, like changing the way that I had done things. And, you know, it was a difficult process, but one that now, if you see me, I've always got my laptop, I've always got my technological devices with me because that's my way of working now. But it was a difficult transition. I think the later you find out, the harder it can sometimes be, because it's not like when a child finds out at a younger age and they've got their parents and they've got their families around them to support them in that transition. When I initially got my diagnosis of dyslexia, I was in my early 20s, and I had a family. We had our first child, so I was a mother, and, you know, juggling all of that. And then on top of that, being like, okay, I just found out a few years ago I've got dyslexia as well. You know, not necessarily being in that place where you can just focus on that one bit of news, which you can do when you're a lot younger. Whereas when you get older, it's a bit like, right, okay, that's great, but I can't just zone in on this news and just, you know, tap into, you know, focusing on that solely. So yeah, no, it's been a real journey, but I'd say it was a really positive eye-opener finding that news out.
Okay, I've got a question for both of you, Keisha and Vanessa, because you've both declared that dyslexia is a gift. Why do you say that?
Okay,
Vanessa, please.
go on, Vanessa.
Yeah. What makes it a gift?
Well, one of the things that I think is like a great gift is the verbal strength that I have, and I believe that that's a major gift relating to my neurodiversity. You know, I speak with passion, straight from the heart. I find it very easy to present. I find it very easy to speak and connect with other individuals. And for me, that is a really, really, really great gift. And sometimes individuals find that really, really difficult, and that's the reverse for them. They find that presentation side and speaking with others and conveying what they want to say a great strength. A great difficulty. Whereas for me, I find it a great strength, and that's a great gift. You know, that's a great gift. And
is that because of being neurodiverse?
Well, it's interesting.
That's the divergence that, whilst it's not written work, but verbally very, very strong, very able. Is that how the normal pattern?
Absolutely. This is something that is really can be often seen, and really came through quite strong with my dyspraxia profile, was the verbal was disproportionately, you know, greater than my ability to convey down on paper, and that's where the great discrepancy there. So I would say yes, this is a great gift.
Okay, thank you so much for that. And before we go into Keisha's answer to that, how were you? Did you privately, or did you do it through? How did you get your diagnosis? Was it when you were studying? How was that accessed?
So it was a little bit of a journey, really. And one thing that helped me was initially my brother went for a dyslexia screen himself through a college course that he was doing at the time. And he said that he had come back positive for the screen. And I was kind of pondering over that, and I was at university and there was discussions around being screened for dyslexia, and I felt like, well, you know, he's just screened positive, what's the likelihood that I probably have got dyslexia as well? I think I probably get screened as well. So I then got screened at that point, And then at that time, I was taking some time away from university because I was having an operation on my foot. So I went away and had a private assessment for dyslexia at that time. So it wasn't done through the university. It was done privately. Right. And then once that was completed, I came back to university with that assessment profile and support that was given. And then I applied for my disabled students allowance, and then applied for all of the support that I needed when I went to university. So that was my pathway. And then the second reassessment that I had later, that was also another private assessment as well. So both of my assessments have been done privately. However, I've still received all of the support through disabled students allowance. Assessments have also allowed me to gain support within the working environment as a business owner now. Through access to work, I can make sure I have job aid support to be able to support me in my role, so that I can fulfill and do everything that I'm about doing, but with the right type of support around me, and also having neurodiversity support as well, coaching to support me around the areas that are more challenging for me to continue executing. So yeah, that's been my journey.
That's great. I mean, just in the way that I'm thinking, is that dyslexia is a gift in the sense that that you will have some really excellent skills that there's a lot of other people that wouldn't have, especially verbally. But also, I think dyslexia is, I suppose, the other gift side to it is that once you know that you have dyslexia or dyspraxia or any neurodivergence, then you also can access support. So I suppose the gift side as well that I can see is that if you are struggling and you don't know what the reason is to find out what that is and then access everything that's available to help you to level the playing field, really, isn't it? And to get you to where you need to go. And I think for me, in talking to anyone that I know, just what I've learned from Keisha, from you all, is about what I think the message is about that. Get the diagnosis, have the assessment, know what know what it is, and then access the support, because then you're able to achieve the things that you want to achieve, that you deserve to achieve. So I think I can see it that way as well. And then Keisha, again, just over to you about the gift. Yeah. Because I think people reading this and seeing that title of the book, Blessed and Gifted, but yet, you'll have a lot of, there's a lot of stereotyping and negativity and stigma. Well, I don't want to be dyslexic. I don't want to be, Steve was talking about that issue of kind of being a slow child, or Sandra was mentioning, the backward child in the family and things like that. So what is blessed and gifted about dyslexia? And I just want you to say it in a way that I can understand, but also others will understand, because at the moment it just sounds like a bit of it did until Vanessa spoke, a bit of a throwaway at sometimes. And I want you to really, really help us to believe that it's a gift. And particularly for a young person who has been diagnosed, that actually is feeling a bit like Vanessa did, that this is not great really initially. And then it was later on realizing about the sport. So over to you, Keisha. Come on, sell this to me.
Okay. So it goes back down to, again, I talk about it all the time, is awareness. Because when you know the strengths of dyslexia and the greatness of dyslexia and the people who have dyslexia and what they've achieved globally, I'm known as someone who's the connector, because I have a great ability, and I know that, and I shout it from the rooftop. That this is why I do radio, I network. I connect people all the time, constantly. And going back to what Vanessa said, it's one of our greatest attributes. It's one of our greatest skills, connecting people, the empathy that we have as well for other people. And Marcia, I'm going to go to something right now, which I remember you fussing me about it.
Yes,
let's
talk about that.
Let's talk about that. So guys, Marcia gave me a real, I remember she come on the phone and I could feel the phone was burning. It was steaming. And she came on as my author and she was like, Keisha, this thank you list in this book.
You mean as your publisher? Yeah.
As your publisher.
Well, it was the editor though that came to me and said, Marcia, go on, carry on, go on.
And then she came to me and she said, this thank you list, this is ridiculous. It's like, you're like the whole world. Listen.
No, listen. It was War and Peace. It was 20 odd pages of thank yous. And we were like, that's like so many extra pages. The book's going to cost how much more to print? You're going to have to put the price up just for the thank yous. So yeah, carry on. So again,
yeah, so that comes from the empathy of me.
Yeah.
Appreciating and acknowledging everyone that has really helped. Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to acknowledge everyone, but everyone that could remember, possibly remember.
You wrote like a paragraph for every person on the list. And those of you who have the book now, not everyone has a paragraph anymore because it was probably more. It was 20 pages A4, which means it would have been 40 pages actually in the book size. So it was just, we have never seen anything like it.
I don't do things by half. So
no,
things that, you know, and even in the workplace now, there's been a massive influx of and attention on people who are neurodiverse because of the big picture thinking that we have, the vision that we have, you know, seeing that creative side and going back to the creativity again. So many of people who are neurodiverse are in the creative industry, if you notice that.
Yes.
The actors, the singers, and I heard someone said this the other day, and it was a comedian who is also dyslexic, and he was saying that, you know, the reason why he's such a brilliant comedian because his brain has to be thinking the next joke, the next joke, the next joke. So his brain is going tick, 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 tick all the time. And that came from him being dyslexic and neurodiverse. So the greatness is I totally think it's a gift because of all the amazing strengths that I have. Of course, I've got challenges. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't have challenges. You know, the things like forgetting to respond to messages and writing things wrong and all those things that I come up against every day. But it's the other part of it where you have to, the greatness outweighs all the challenges that we have and things that we lack in. And if you're lacking in something, if you're a dyslexic person, going back to what Vanessa was saying, in the workplace there's this thing where if you're not great at a certain task in your business or something, outsource it. Don't struggle with that task because you're not going to be amazing at everything in your so outsource those little things that you have challenges with. Do skill swap. Skill swap is something where is good at editing. Vanessa is good at writing. Skill swap going on. So many ways of getting around the little challenges that we can have.
Fantastic. Vanessa, thank you so much for your contribution. It's really been enlightening. Another something that I've definitely picked up is access to work, which I've never heard of.
Yeah.
I think I've heard of it, but Vanessa has now indicated that actually I might be able to apply for that.
Yeah, you can get that for your business.
Yeah. So these are tips that we need shared as much as possible. And I know that your book, Keisha, is a great starting point because you do have some organizations listed and so on in the book. Vanessa, thank you. I'm going to take you off the spotlight now. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. And Keisha, we're now coming towards the end. And really, it's just for your final words and vote of thanks to everyone who's been here. But any closing remarks?
Yeah.
It's over to you.
I just want to say there's many people on this call here tonight, and I just want to acknowledge you and say I appreciate you so much. Without in life, on your life journey, everybody needs people around them, and there's been some champion in my life and on this journey. Marcia, one of them. There's so many others as well. Carol, Vanessa, everyone, you know, everyone that I've met, and you have people in your life, and people are in your life for a reason. And I just want to say, whatever it is that you pay attention to, the children in your family, and don't let them suffer and go through like myself, being diagnosed at 41. So pay close attention to their learning styles, things that they're interested in, things that they may have little challenges with, and just get that support as early as possible. Don't be afraid of kicking down those school doors, because nobody knows your child but you. So the teachers will say to you, well, they have to be a certain age. I think sometimes they say, oh, we have to be 8 years old and all of that to get them diagnosed or tested. But some don't listen to that. Just advocate for your child and make sure that they're accessing the support that's going to help them to reach their full potential in life.
Wonderful. Keisha Adair Swaby, it has been a wonderful evening. It has really been really lovely. You know, I'm in Manchester, but I've been in Huddersfield today, actually hosting a book launch, a face-to-face launch. And I was thinking, I'm going to be tired for Keisha's launch. Why have I committed? Why are we doing it on the same day? But actually, it's just been such a pleasure. Just really a pleasure, and very, very enlightening and educational. I've learned so much for myself personally, but also for how I work with other people who are neurodivergent, which I've been doing for a number of years now anyway. But yeah, I've learned loads. Absolutely loads.
Yannick is in the background.
Yes,